Today, I'm going to cover an article that I saw on my CNN feed a couple of weeks ago. It was probably about mid-May 2019 that I saw this. And this is the preventable cancer burden associated with poor diet in the United States. So this is an article that was just released. And what this article found is that over 80,000 of the new cancer cases in the year 2015 were attributed to diet. This is 5.2% of the new cancers that were seen in 2015. More than 67,000 of these were directly attributable to diet, and the other 12 or more than 12,000 were attributed to obesity. So what they did is they did what is called a meta-analysis. And what this means is they went back and they looked at previous studies. And they were looking from, for adults to really see what it is that they ate on a regular basis, to look at what could potentially be causing this. And they used a lot of modern techniques in statistical analysis to be able to determine if this was really attributable to diet or not. Now, with this, what they found was the highest burden, the most common causes of diet-related cancers was either low whole grains or high processed meat. So what do we mean by low whole grains? Basically, people that were getting cancer were eating around 40% of what is suggested on a daily basis for whole grains. And for processed meat, they were eating twice the amount of processed meat. Colorectal cancer was the most prevalent of the cancers that were attributable to diet. And again, they had two reasons for this. And the two reasons were low whole grains, again, low eating of whole grains, and also low ingestion of dairy. So people were eating only 50% of the suggested dairy on a daily basis. Now, what's interesting is the cancer that they found, that 5.2%, is comparable to the amount of cancer that year that was caused by alcohol. It was just slightly lower than what was caused by obesity. So this is talking about the cancers that were directly attributable to the diet. And it was slightly higher than the cancers caused by physical inactivity, which again is something that could potentially be caused by or lead to obesity. So some of the drawbacks to this study were, the first one was that this is a meta-analysis. It's looking at something that has already happened, and this was something that already happened in 2015. The statistical analysis is great, but they're looking at something that already happened. They have to do this. This makes sense because it's very difficult to follow people throughout their lives, and this would take a very, very long time to be able to come up with these results. Another drawback is they didn't look at diet in childhood, and diet in childhood can definitely lead you on a diet for adulthood, and it may change things because you're growing. And then finally, they considered the foods separately and did not consider different types of foods together and what the interactions could be between different types of foods that are together. Some of the great positives of this is, first of all, I talk about funding, and this is an NIH, National Institutes of Health, funded study, which means that it is funded by the government body and not by a company. So there is no interest in getting a particular type of result from this. Another one is, I mentioned the meta-analysis, but this is using modern and the most current meta-analysis techniques, which means that the statistics that are done are very, very good and something that we can trust with what's going on. Another great thing is this actually updated the estimates of cancer due to diet that we had in the past. The final two things that I really liked about this is that they added sugar-sweetened beverages to this, because that is something that we all have access to. And finally, they added obesity as another category. And though they added those as two separate categories, these are categories that they did look at, which is important, that they're looking at, the things that we do have access to, that are not necessarily whole grains or fruits and vegetables, as well as the burden of obesity. With the burden of obesity, the WHO actually considers, the World Health Organization, actually considers obesity as a double burden. First of all, obviously, obesity, we know some of the problems with that. But the second thing is many people who are obese are actually malnourished. And so adding that category, I think, was very good and very powerful. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, if there is an article that you have seen that you want reviewed, please do let me know. Thank you so much. I will see you in another review.